Welcome back to The Trust Show. I'm Yoram Solomon, and today, as I promised, I will be reading Chapter 16 of my book, The Trust Premium. We've reached the fifth and final behavior in Part 3 of the book, behaviors that will make your customers trust you. And this one is a powerful force, although it often works behind the scenes. In this chapter, we explore transferable trust, how the trust someone else has in you gets passed along to a prospective customer, and how trust in someone else can impact how much a customer trusts you. It flows both ways, inbound and outbound, and it's shaped by what I call the 4 R's: reviews, references, recommendations, and reputation. This chapter is about understanding how trust moves between people, how to amplify it, how to protect it, and how to avoid destroying it with shortcuts or inflated claims. Trust often walks into the room before you do, or it doesn't. And knowing how to manage that makes all the difference. Well, let's get into Chapter 16 of The Trust Premium right after this. Welcome to The Trust Show. I'm Yoram Solomon, your host, the author of the Book of Trust, and facilitator of the Trust Habits Workshop. My mission is simple. I want to help you form habits that build your trustworthiness, because the answer to this question will have the biggest impact on your personal and professional success or failure. Can I trust you? Chapter 16: Transferable Trust, Inbound and Outbound. Transferable trust is among the most powerful forces influencing a new customer's decision to buy from you or use your services. It bridges the gap between their uncertainty and their willingness to invest in you, based not only on their own research or judgment, but also on the experiences and endorsements of others. Transferable trust operates through 4 key elements, the 4 R's: reviews, references, recommendations, and reputation. To fully leverage transferable trust, it's essential to understand and address both outbound transferable trust, the trust current or past customers project outwards, and inbound transferable trust, or how prospective customers absorb and act on that trust. The better you manage both, the more you amplify your trust premium. I want to take you back to something I said when I described the 5th law of trust, that trust is transferable, in Chapter 8. I gave you a mathematical equation. Trust inbound equals trust outbounds times transferable trust. The inbound transferable trust, the trust inbound, is the product of the outbound transferable trust, trust outbound, and the trust that the potential customer has in the person providing that outbound transferable trust, or the trust transfer. The explanation was that outbound transferable trust is meaningless if the prospective customer doesn't trust the person providing the outbound transferable trust, resulting in 0 inbound transferable trust. Inbound transferable trust is maximized when the prospective customer trusts the person providing the outbound transferable trust a lot. In order to maximize the inbound transferable trust and increase the probability of a prospective customer deciding to engage with you, you must maximize the outbound transferable trust, simply put, make your current customers trust you, and focus on high trust transfer relationships. Outbound transferable trust. Outbound transferable trust begins with your current and past customers. For it to be effective, the most fundamental requirement is that your existing customers genuinely trust you. This trust is earned when the actual value you deliver exceeds their perceived value and when the actual price aligns with or falls below their perceived price. as I outlined in Chapter 3. You don't get the 4 R's of outbound trust without this foundation. Reviews. Encourage your customers to share their experiences through reviews, but approach this ethically. Avoid asking for positive reviews. Instead, request authentic feedback, framing it as a way to help future customers understand what to expect. If you ask for glowing reviews, you risk being perceived as manipulative, which diminishes trust. Guide your customers where and how they can leave reviews by sharing links to platforms such as Yelp, Trustpilot, Google, or industry-specific sites like G2, Angie's List, or TripAdvisor. The more reviews you accumulate, the more credible your business appears, and the more you build the 4th R, your reputation. However, ensure these reviews are genuine. Customers grow suspicious when they see only a handful of overly enthusiastic reviews. Above all, never resort to fake reviews. Consider the infamous case of Sunday Riley. In October 2018, an email from the company revealed a detailed strategy for employees to create fake reviews, complete with instructions on using VPNs to mask IP addresses, write under false identities, and even reviewing competing products to boost authenticity. This practice, allegedly directed by the company's CEO, led to an FTC complaint and irreparable damage to the company's reputation. You can read more about this story in the Book of Trust. Fake reviews might seem like an easy shortcut, but they are unethical, illegal in many jurisdictions, and almost always backfire when exposed. The trust transfer of reviews is the lowest because the prospective customer doesn't personally know the previous customer who posted the review and, therefore, doesn't trust them much. They may not even believe that those are real customers. The trust transfer is even lower when those reviews are on your website because new customers consider those reviews biased. So, why do reviews? For several reasons. First, while the trust transfer is the lowest, it's still positive. Second, while prospective customers will hesitate to rely on very few such reviews, they would think much more positively about a high number of reviews. Imagine you're about to buy something on Amazon. It's an expensive item, so you want to feel more comfortable when purchasing it. And inbound transferable trust plays a more significant role. When you look at the reviews on Amazon, while seeing a high rating, say 4.6 out of 5, there are only 12 reviews. Can you trust them? Now imagine that the rating is slightly lower, 4.2, but there are over 26,000 reviews. Quantity matters. Another way to increase the trust transfer of online reviews is when the review site has a reliable way to indicate that a real customer posted the review. Amazon indicates that an actual purchaser left a review with the badge Verified Purchase. Another way to increase the trust transfer factor of reviews is when the reviewer's name appears next to the review instead of Amazon customer or another anonymous way. We tend to trust reviews more when the customer's name is visible, even if we don't personally know that customer. Another way to increase the trust transfer factors of reviews is to respond to the reviews on platforms that allow that, especially to negative ones. Most independent review sites have the option to let the provider respond to the review. Pay attention to the reviews made about your products or services. It doesn't hurt to respond to a positive review. Thank you for your kind words. I'm glad to hear you're happy with your purchase or the service we provided you. But it's even more important to respond to negative reviews, showing that you are paying attention to them and taking proactive steps to fix a negative experience. Finally, I would recommend you consider one more type of review, the video testimonial. While those would only appear on your website, which will be regarded as biased in your favor, they operate on the relative trust model's intimacy component. When the customer can see the person who leaves the review, that the review is positive, don't worry, customers who didn't have a positive experience will refuse to give you a video testimonial, and that their body language was supportive of the positive review. They didn't say the experience was great while rolling their eyes. Your new customer would tend to trust this review more than a text-only review. You don't have to use a fancy studio to record the review. In fact, the lower the video quality, the more authentic it appears. I'm not suggesting that you lower the video quality on purpose. I suggest you capture the review with whatever means you have whenever you can. There is one more thing I want you to consider. I mentioned it in Chapter 10 when I covered the relative trust model, specifically the positivity component. Research shows that bad is much stronger than good. In Chapter 10, I covered some of that research. I want you to consider that your customers are much more likely to post a negative review if they had a negative experience than they are to post a positive review after they had a positive experience with you. I also want you to consider one more thing. When I'm about to purchase something significant and check online reviews, I check the negative reviews first. I'm more influenced by the negativity of the negative reviews than by the positivity of the positive reviews. Do you do the same? So, keep in mind that 1, people are more likely to post negative reviews, and 2, people are more influenced by negative reviews. With that in mind, you see why it's important to encourage customers who had a positive experience to post reviews. References. As you complete engagements or projects, or even long enough into an ongoing customer engagement, ask your customers if they'd be willing to act as references for future clients. Frame this request as an acknowledgement of their positive experience with you. Respect their time and boundaries by confirming their willingness and specifying how they'd prefer to be contacted. Recommendations. Recommendations are a unique form of transferable trust because they occur organically without your direct involvement. They rely on your past customers voluntarily endorsing you to people who trust them or responding when asked for advice by prospective customers who know them. You can't actively facilitate this, but you can ensure happy customers who naturally recommend you when the opportunity arises. The trust transfer factor, or the conversion of the outbound transferable trust of previous customers into the inbound transferable trust considered by prospective customers, is the highest with recommendations. Think about your level of trust in an anonymous review on Amazon versus your level of trust in a friend who has been by your side through thick and thin since childhood. Reputation. Your reputation is the cumulative perception of your trustworthiness based on all prior customer interactions and the general public's awareness of your work. As the saying goes, your reputation enters the room before you do. While you can't entirely control your reputation, you can shape it by consistently delivering exceptional service and exceeding expectations. Inbound transferable trust. Inbound transferable trust is the flip side of the coin. It's what prospective customers gather from reviews, references, recommendations, and your reputation. While you can't dictate their interpretations, you can make it easier for them to find and trust the information they encounter. Reviews. Make your reviews as accessible as possible. Link to objective review platforms from your website or include them in your email signature. If a potential customer is hesitant, direct them to detailed reviews to provide the reassurance they need to make an informed decision. References. Offering references can build significant trust even if the prospect doesn't follow up on them. The very act of providing references signals your confidence in your work. However, always seek permission from past clients before sharing their contact information. A reference who is caught off guard might inadvertently damage the trust you're trying to build. Even though prospects understand that references are likely to be your most satisfied customers, they still view the willingness to provide references as a mark of your transparency. Recommendations. Whenever I'm about to embark on a major project at home, I ask for recommendations on Facebook. I will always give more weight to recommendations I get from people I know and trust who actually use the provider I'm considering. It never failed me and turned out much better than, in quote marks, objective review sites. Much like outbound recommendations, inbound recommendations happen outside of your control. Ensure that your customers are so satisfied with your service that when their friends, colleagues, or contacts inquire about your field, your name is the first mentioned. Positive word of mouth builds the strongest form of trust because it comes from someone the prospective customer already trusts. Reputation. Advertise your reputation authentically. If you've worked with notable clients or achieved significant milestones, share these accomplishments honestly and straightforwardly. Make sure you get your customers' permission to use their names. If the customer is a prominent company and they allow you to use their logo on your website, do that. I must admit how many times I purchased a product after noticing that a prominent company's logo was displayed on the provider's website as a customer. Avoiding common pitfalls. One of the most significant mistakes businesses make is proclaiming their own trustworthiness. Avoid exaggerating or making unverifiable claims. Statements like, "We're the most trusted provider in the industry," often ring hollow and can backfire. Trust statements such as, "We are a trusted leader," are meaningless unless validated by customers. Trust is not a title you can claim for yourself. It's an endorsement that must come from others. Remember the 2022 PricewaterhouseCoopers survey, which highlighted this disconnect. While 87% of executives believed their companies were trusted, only 30% of customers agreed. Assume that you feel you are trusted by your customers more than you really are. Overstating your trustworthiness may erode trust rather than build it. Take care to avoid vague or overarching claims about your reputation. Focus instead on showcasing genuine customer feedback and real-world examples of your work. Conclusion. Transferrable trust is the bridge between your existing customers' experiences and your prospective customers' decisions. By cultivating outbound trust through authentic reviews, helpful references, positive recommendations, and a strong reputation, you create a reservoir of goodwill that prospective customers can draw upon. Inbound transferable trust transforms this goodwill into actionable confidence for new customers. By making reviews visible, handling references with care, letting recommendations happen naturally, and presenting your reputation truthfully, you lay the groundwork for trust even before a customer engages with you. Trust cannot be manufactured or faked. It grows organically from genuine actions, transparent communications, and a steadfast commitment to exceeding customer expectations. By harnessing both outbound and inbound transferable trust, you amplify your ability to attract new customers, build lasting relationships, and secure a competitive edge in your industry. Do's and don'ts. Consistently exceed your customers' expectations to ensure they trust you and become advocates. Ask satisfied customers to leave honest reviews on credible platforms to build a solid online reputation. Provide links to review sites to make it easy for customers to share their experiences. Ask happy customers if they'd act as references for prospective clients, respecting their times and convenience. Highlight your best customer testimonials on your website, preferably in video format for authenticity. Direct hesitant prospects to review sites where they can see detailed and unbiased feedback about you. Maintain relationships with past clients to increase the likelihood of organic recommendations. Advertise your reputation authentically, focusing on real achievements and customer endorsements. Respond to reviews posted on independent review websites, especially negative ones. Follow up with references before sharing their contact details, ensuring they're still willing to vouch for you. Don't ask customers for positive reviews. Request honest feedback to build authentic trust. Don't incentivize or reward reviews, as it undermines their credibility and your trustworthiness. Don't post fake reviews or ask others to do so, even as a shortcut to build trust. Don't share past clients' contact information without first obtaining explicit permission. Don't overstate your reputation with vague or unverifiable claims like, "We are the most trusted provider." Don't misrepresent yourself as trusted unless real customer testimonials and evidence back it. Don't dismiss the power of word-of-mouth recommendations, even though they're outside of your control. Don't ignore negative reviews. Address them constructively to show you care about improving. Don't focus solely on testimonials on your website, as customers trust objective review platforms more. And don't use recommendations or reviews manipulatively, as it diminishes the trust they've meant to build. Well, that wraps up Chapter 16, and with it, Part 3 of the book, Behaviors that will make your customers trust you. We explored transferable trust, how reviews, references, recommendations, and reputations, the 4 R's, help bridge the gap between uncertainty and action. When managed well, they build confidence in you before you even show up. When mishandled, they can quietly undermine everything you're working for. In the next episode, we'll begin Part 4, the process. We'll start talking about how to understand, analyze, and assess the trust premium in your industry, how to identify the customers who value trust the most, and how to intentionally build your trustworthiness, not just as a person or a business, but as a strategy. Also, a quick scheduling update. From now on, The Trust Show will shift to a new episode every 2 weeks, still on Tuesdays at 6 a.m., to make room for the launch of my new podcast, Is It Really a Great Idea?, based on my latest book and workbook. I mentioned this in the last episode, and I'm excited to bring both shows to you in tandem. I hope this made you think a little differently about trust and trust premium. May trust be with you. This was The Trust Show. What would you like to know about trust and trustworthiness? Let me know and I'll answer it in a future episode. I would love to hear from you. Email me at yoram@thetrustshow.com. If you like this episode, subscribe to the show so you will automatically get notified when I release a new episode. Rate it. Write a review for this podcast because those ratings help not only you, but also others looking for podcasts just like this. If you're looking for more resources to learn about how to build trust, be trusted, or know who to trust, look up my workshops, online courses, books, or go to my website, trusthabits.com. And remember that the answer to these 2 questions will have the biggest impact on your personal and professional success or failure. Can I trust you? And can you trust me? Thank you for listening or watching The Trust Show.